Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have some Pauper for you. I'm actually on camera. This is the finals of our ELD Pauper Open. I'm playing Sam on Tortured Existence, both of us undefeated up until this point. And it looks like a solid potential opener here. A couple of Lotus Petals. Sam opening up with a gate or a Jungle Hollow or something along those lines. Gaining a life. Tortured Existence coming down. And an artifact that will allow Sam to mill some cards into the graveyard and pick the top. You can let me know what that one is. Card from Return to Innistrad. We are on turn 2 here. There's a Floating-Dream Zubera in hand. That can be committed to the board pretty easily. Lotus Petal as well. The Zubera Storm deck doesn't actually... Oh, and Transmuting. The Zubera Storm list doesn't actually have a storm count. It counts how many Zuberas have died. So effects like Lotus Petal, not necessary to track those. But how many times Zubera's died becomes extremely relevant. Here we have a Spore Frog, so a little bit of defense against most decks in the format. Sam getting a bounce land into play, tapped out, so really his only interaction here is going to be Spore Frog. It may be time to go for it if there's enough mana in hand. Floating-Dream Zubera. No, and just passing, so not enough to actually get the job done. It looks like there might have been in hand. There's some rituals and stuff. Let's see how this goes. Sam's deck, very capable of dealing with an aggressive opening. Spore Frog recursion stops many of the faster decks in the format. Of course, creature removal can be thrown at it to get through one attack step, but it really needs to be done at instant speed, meaning it has to be done on Sam's turn. Otherwise, he can just fog in response, and he can bring it back every turn. Ash Barrens here being cycled. A couple of Lotus Petals in play. 3 cards so far. Looks like Cabal Ritual is a consideration. Zubera being sacrificed. And not quite enough to get threshold for Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual can net you 1 extra mana or 3 extra mana, depending on if you have Threshold. Lotus Petals helping out with that cause. So just 3 black. Unearth, hitting the Zubera. 1 black left. Undying Evil, and looks like things are going to get going here. Got a couple of Zuberas. Triggers, so 3 Zuberas have died, 2 card draws apiece. A Dark Ritual. Up to 5 black. Unearth. Down to 3. This Zubera is going to be worth at least 4 cards. Sam's going to be able to bring back Sakura Tribe Elder. Supernatural Stamina for number 4 and 5. So the Zubera is going to have 2 triggers, 1 for drawing cards, the other for returning to the battlefield. Going to stack those up to get the maximum value here. And going to be pretty difficult to fumble from here. 5 black mana, 5 dead Zuberas, and very, very difficult to fumble here. The early goings with this combo deck are really the main consideration and probably the biggest skill testers. figuring out exactly when you want to go for it. The longer you go, the closer you get to an absolute certainty. But of course, speed can be a very valuable weapon as well. Got 2 draws of 7 each, and this is vintage level power here. Wheel of Fortune literally banned in Legacy. It's so powerful, and here we've got a pair of one-sided Wheel of Fortunes, essentially 14 cards being drawn. We see that Burning-Fist Zubera, and this guy's gonna take it home from here. No need for an attack step. So far, 7 dead Zuberas, probably going to be about 30 damage to the face, could be way more. So the Zubera is going to die, come back, sack it again. So we've got 2 times 9, and then Unearth to do a final 10. So 28 damage to the face there. And Zubera Storm up a game. Heading in to the sideboard. Sam has some serious options. This list is... it's fun. It doesn't do the best with Disruption. I'm not sure what I would play if I was going 100% on winning alone. Zubera Storm's not that deck. You play Zubera Storm to have some fun and to have a chance. It can beat anything on an incredibly good draw. But it is far from the best deck in the format, but it is one of the craziest. Sam's list actually capable of some serious shenanigans as well. So Ashen Skin Zubera, a sideboard option, can wipe out someone's hand. Also helps with your Zubera count. It is a 2-color deck, just black and blue. Does play a playset of Lotus Petals and has a playset of Ash Barrens, so adding in other colors could be a consideration. Something like a Nature's Claim could potentially give answers to problem cards. This deck has probably the toughest time versus creature removal can be a problem. Getting rid of your enablers, that can be a real issue. Discard can be a problem. Counter spells. Graveyard removal. I've lost the land destruction. Really any type of disruption. If you're playing in a vacuum, Zubera Storm's one of the best decks in the format. But we don't play Magic in a vacuum. There's a lot of things people can do to try and ruin your plans. One of your best options against that is speed, so occasionally you'll have a turn 2 win. Those are welcome. It is theoretically possible for the deck to win on the first turn, though I haven't had that happen in a tournament setting. I don't even think it's happened in goldfishing, not that I've goldfished the deck very much. I have had turn 2 wins. And going into game number 2, Sam's going to have the play. Ooh, interesting. Brainstorm. Oh, that could have that. So that Brainstorm, that's a mulligan there, going to 6. Brainstorm could have been a turn 2 win there. Of course, if I whiffed on lands, it would have been essentially a turn 1 loss. So tough to say what the right choice is with this type of deck. You don't want to give it too much credit. This looks like a reasonable 6. Ash Barrens. Thought Picker Witch. A mini Jace the Mind Sculptor. Brainstorm here. No colored land, so Ash Barrens going to need to be played in order to cycle the other Ash Barrens. Not the most exciting use of the card, but the shuffle, very welcome. Part of the reason why I've built the deck the way that I can to make maximum use of Brainstorm. A lot of, well, not a lot of, the other lists that I've seen online were running Preordain. Shred Memory now, also a card that I maximized to a playset of, and that gets the Floating-Dream Zubera. And we've got the recursion really going online now. Tortured Existence, Thought Picker Witch can start to become a problem if Sam can start getting some bodies on board. And Floating-Dream Zubera and Ashen Skin Zubera, so potentially a bunch of cards going to be getting ripped out of Sam's hand. And he finds a Fairy Macabre, what he's been digging for. That is going to be very difficult to play around, especially with the recursion from Tortured Existence. This card relies heavily on the graveyard. As long as Sam can have a card in hand. And we already saw that Madness Grave Robber effect. Viscera Seer. Croson Tusker. And some life being gained with this Golgari Brown Scale. This life not actually useful versus Zubera Storm. It can do about, I don't know, 100 damage if need be, pretty easily. Transmuting Shred Memory. It is possible Shred Memory's other mode would be a very useful tactic in this jockeying for position. Tortured Existence, though, very nimble in its ability to play around that type of effect. So, for example, a Fairy Macabre, one Fairy Macabre, not the end of the world. Infinite Fairy Macabres, that you're not going to be able to beat. It's possible Shred Memory could snipe a Fairy Macabre out of the graveyard. But that would require Sam to not have any additional creature cards in hand to discard. And it looks like I'm going to be going for it here. So, Undying Evil, sacrificing Ashen Skin Zubera. And Fairy Macabre going to be hitting it. So one Ashen Skin Zubera dead so far. Next one, so we're going to have two Ashen Skin triggers. And going to go all in here on a third. So it's going to be drawing 3, and Sam's going to be discarding 6. Let's see how he navigates this. Returning the Fairy Macabre, discarding it to exile both Zuberas. Now Tortured Existence returning to get Fairy Macabre. He will not be using it. So drawing 3. And then Sam's going to need to discard 3. Got a couple of Madness triggers. And then discarding another 3. So those Madness triggers are really potent in their ability to negate these discard effects. So 3 more. He's left with 1 card in hand. Not quite good enough. Pretty close. Might have actually been able to slow that down a little bit. Possibly waiting longer. There was no real pressure yet. Thought Picker Witch starting to do its thing. Tons of mana here. Another Viscera Seer. And looks like the third Viscera Seer just being held on to just in case a Crypt Rats decides to ruin the party. And it looks like there was actually a Crypt Rats in the graveyard, so not much of a stretch. Thought Picker Witch now doing its best Jace the Mind Sculptor impersonation each turn. Putting a card into exile, leaving 1 on top. Another Viscera Seer committed to the board. And just continual card advantage here for Tortured Existence from this stage on out. Mesmeric Fiend. It's going to take a stab. Oh, and Floating-Dream Zubera taken out from the top of the library. That card going to be stranded. Mesmeric Fiend, a card that I actually played in Standard back in the day. I do like that little guy. Definitely appreciate what Sam's got going on with this list. Actually played a black-green Braids deck in Odyssey Blocks Standard. Some of the earliest tournaments that I attended for Standard before settling on the Eternal formats. And now, one final stab to try and find something on top of the library. Sam has tapped out. Thought Picker Witch has cleared pretty much everything. And that is simply not gonna do. So we're off to game number 3. A very small window there. Would have needed, I guess, like a Floating-Dream Zubera into another Floating-Dream Zubera. Probably the only way out of that situation. Tons of rituals in hand, so Shred Memories could be part of that equation as well. But those Viscera Seers offering just a glimpse of hope at the end. But that was not to be. Going on to game number 3. Sam mulliganing here. Looks like a mana light hand here for Zubera Storm. Island a go. Could be in very good shape with another land, but not to be on turn 2. Thought Picker Witch getting some damage in. And Tortured Existence as well for Sam. This Fume Spitter, a little bit of an issue for Viscera Seer. Bloodthrone Vampire, more able to deal with it as it gets bigger, faster. Brainstorm now finds an Ash Barren. The Zubera discarded. Potentially useful. Being in the graveyard. Being able to bring it back with Unearth and Exhume. Unearth actually a cheaper way to get the ball rolling, especially if you're bottlenecked on mana. And needing to go to discard. That is rough. This Ash Barren's not able to be played. Going to need to be cycled during the upkeep to get a fresh card on top. So could have just played the Ash Barren and prevented discarding. And Unearth targeting the Zubera, and he's already got the Fairy Macabre in hand. No need to dig for it. And this could be a very lopsided game with recursion on Fairy Macabre already online. A Grave Scrabbler. Scrabbler? The Grave Robber with Madness. Viscera Seer coming down. She gets taken out with the Scry. And this one's looking pretty graphic. Thought Picker Witch. Going to be able to start Fate Sealing and just making sure there's no way back in. Tons of Dark Ritual effects. But again, this Fairy Macabre in hand, actually the biggest roadblock. Of course, the Thought Picker Witch going to prevent any of the outs being drawn. Not actually sure what would be a good answer to Fairy Macabre. Let me know in the comments if you have any answers for Zubera Storm versus Fairy Macabre. That'd be much appreciated. Can potentially be any color. The deck does have a bit of mana fixing in it in between the Lotus Petals and the Ash Barrens. Exhume being fired off. Fairy Macabre putting an end to that. And Sam gonna get just a free Sakura Tribe Elder out of the deal. And using Tortured Existence again. And again. Just all the activations you want with this. Such a powerful little enchantment. Really happy to have seen this on camera. It's an archetype that has caught my attention in Pauper, but I actually haven't built it. It's one of the one of the handful of Pauper strategies that I actually haven't taken the time to build. Pretty sure I have all the cards for it. But yeah, it's really, really powerful. The Tortured Existence, the main staple, I definitely have tons of those. Things like the Fume Spitter and stuff I might have to dig for. But it is a really interesting brew. And from here, just one more swing and it's going to be over. Thought Picker, which last time with a Jace the Mind Sculptor impersonation, that Floating-Dream Zubera, just a glimmer of hope taken away, and now it's just going to be one more swing for a well-earned victory with Sam. Responding, Dark Ritual, all the Undying Evils in the handshake. Sam, a well-earned championship playmat for our ELD Pauper Open. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.